You don't feel tachycardia. You don't have a panic attack. You don't feel short of breath. But when you lie in bed, sleep simply doesn't come. Your mind doesn't turn off, and you wake up tired every day. Have you ever wondered why, even though you're exhausted, sleep just won't come? Why does the body ask for rest, but the mind insists on staying awake, reliving thoughts, scenarios, and worries that seem to have no end? Maybe you've already thought, I don't have anxiety, I don't feel short of breath, I don't have crises, I don't feel sick. And precisely because of this, you go on with life believing that everything is fine. But every night, when the light goes out and silence takes over the room, insomnia appears like a constant presence. If this makes sense to you, stay here, because this video can explain something that no one has ever told you about anxiety that doesn't give visible symptoms, but steals your sleep. There is a form of anxiety that goes unnoticed, even by the person who experiences it. Not all anxiety is accompanied by tachycardia, tremors, or obvious crises. There is a silent, functional anxiety, the one that hides behind the busy routine, daily responsibilities, and the appearance of control. It's the anxiety of those who wake up early, work, talk, solve problems, meet deadlines, take care of their home, family, and everything around them. During the day, this person seems fine. It works, delivers results, responds to messages, makes decisions. To anyone looking from the outside, there is no clear sign that anything is wrong. But when night comes, everything changes. The same body that spent the whole day active goes to bed tired, asking for rest. But at that moment, the mind doesn't follow. She speeds up. Repetitive thoughts begin to arise without warning. Small situations of the day gain disproportionate weight. A simple conversation turns into a huge problem. A task for tomorrow turns into a source of intense worry. The mind begins to jump from thought to thought as if it were trying to solve all of life at once, precisely at the moment when it should rest. This is the anxiety that does not appear in exams, that does not attract attention, that does not generate immediate concern for either those who feel it or those who live with it. During the day, it is masked by constant busyness. As long as there is noise, commitments, and distractions, she keeps herself under control. But at night, when silence arrives, when there is nowhere else to run or distract herself, it manifests itself in the only way it can, by falling asleep. The body is exhausted, heavy, tired, but the brain remains in a state of alert, as if something very important needs to be resolved immediately. Maybe you've already experienced this, lying in bed and instead of relaxing, feeling your mind becoming more and more active. The more you try to sleep, the more awake you seem to become. You look at the clock, notice the hours passing, and this creates even more anxiety. You start to worry about the next day, about how tired you will feel, about how much performance you will have. And so, the cycle repeats night after night. It's not lack of sleep, it's not laziness, it's not exaggeration. It's an anxiety that doesn't scream during the day but takes over everything when silence arrives. And the most dangerous thing about this silent anxiety is precisely the fact that it seems harmless. Many people live with insomnia for years, without realizing that it is a sign, a clear message from the body and mind asking for attention. If you have identified yourself so far, if you feel that this text describes exactly your nights, stay with me, because in the next part, we will understand why insomnia becomes the main symptom of this anxiety, and what really happens when you lie down and sleep doesn't come. When you realize that this doesn't just happen once in a while, but repeats itself night after night, something starts to make sense. Insomnia stops being just difficulty sleeping and becomes a clear sign that there is an internal state of constant alert. Even without obvious physical symptoms, the body behaves as if it is always preparing for something that never happens. This is why, when lying down, the brain continues to work in excess, analyzing, anticipating, reliving situations, and trying to control what has not yet arrived. Silent anxiety feeds precisely on this attempt to control, this need to always be attentive, always ready, even when there is nothing else to do. Many people who experience this believe that it is normal, that it is part of adulthood, daily stress or responsibilities. They get used to sleeping poorly, waking up tired, living on automatic. But what few realize is that this pattern accumulates, affecting mood, concentration, energy, and even the way of seeing life itself. The mind never rests completely, and the body pays the price little by little. Recognizing this is already an important step, because it means stopping blaming yourself and starting to understand, give you what's really happening. If at any point in this video you thought, It looks like they are talking about me. I really want to know. Write here in the comments if your anxiety appears mainly at night, at bedtime, or if insomnia has already become part of your routine. Sharing this can help not only you, but other people who are going through exactly the same situation and still think they are alone in this. This space is also a place of exchange, reception, and identification. If this content is making sense to you, leave a like now. This shows the algorithm that this video needs to reach more people who suffer from silent anxiety and insomnia, but still can't name what they feel. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next videos, because here we talk about emotional health in a clear, deep, and non-judgmental way. And activate the bell to receive the next content, because in the next video, I will explain in more depth why the mind enters this state of alert at night and what can help calm these thoughts before bed. During the day, everything seems under control. Routine works like a kind of emotional anesthesia. The person wakes up, gets up even when tired, keeps schedules, responds to messages, resolves issues, makes decisions, talks, laughs when necessary, maintains the appearance of being able to handle it. Anxiety exists, but it is organized, sandwiched between commitments, tasks, and constant distractions. As long as there is movement, noise, and external demands, the mind has no room to delve too deeply. She's too busy to feel. It's as if anxiety is pushed into a corner, kept under surveillance, controlled by the dynamics of the day itself. The problem begins when this movement ends. When night arrives and external stimuli decrease, the mind stops being driven by routine and starts to take complete control. No more immediate demands, no more urgent tasks, no more conversations to respond to. And it is exactly in this void that anxiety finds space to expand. Silence does not bring rest, it brings confrontation. The bed, which should be a place of welcome and recovery, turns into dangerous territory for those who live with silent anxiety. This is where the thoughts that were ignored during the day begin to emerge with force. Anxiety, in essence, is anticipation of the future. She is not worried about now, but about everything that could still happen. That's why, when you go to bed, your mind starts to project scenarios, revisit decisions, create possibilities that don't even exist yet. The body is in the present, tired, asking for a break, but the brain is in the tomorrow, trying to predict, control, and avoid possible threats. Even if there is no real danger at that moment, the nervous system behaves as if there were. The body goes into a state of alert, as if it were necessary to be ready to act, fight, or flee. It is at this point that insomnia becomes the main symptom. Not because the person doesn't want to sleep, but because the brain doesn't understand that it's safe to rest. The bed becomes a space where the mind begins to go over everything that was left pending. You lie down wanting to sleep, but you start to remember what you didn't resolve, what you could have done differently, what you said or didn't say. Remembers the next day's commitments, responsibilities, bills, expectations. Small concerns become disproportionate in size. Thought does not come in the form of a clear problem, it comes fragmented, repetitive, insistent. The more you try to sleep, the more aware you become of your own state of alertness. The clock becomes a silent enemy. Every waking minute increases the worry about the next day, about tiredness, about performance, about irritation. The mind enters a self-feeding cycle. Thinking generates alertness. Alertness generates more thoughts. And in this process, the body remains tense even though it is physically exhausted. Muscles don't relax completely. Breathing doesn't deepen. Rest doesn't really happen. It is important to understand that this is not a joke. It's not an exaggeration. It's not a lack of gratitude nor drama. It's not simply a lack of sleep either. Many people blame themselves for not being able to sleep, as if it were a personal failure. They try to force themselves to relax. They fight with themselves. They judge themselves for not switching off. But the truth is that the brain is functioning exactly as it has been conditioned to function. He learned over time that he needs to always be attentive, always prepared, always anticipating. This is survival mode activated, even when there is no real threat. When anxiety manifests itself in this silent way, it does not appear in attacks, but in constancy. She doesn't scream, she whispers all night long. It doesn't fall off during the day, but it wears down little by little. Insomnia becomes the space where everything that was repressed finds voice. And the longer this is repeated, the more the brain associates the bed and sleeping time with a state of alert, creating conditioning. Just by lying down, The mind prepares itself to think, analyze, and worry, even before any specific thought arises. You may recognize this pattern. The day goes by, you feel relatively well, but as soon as it gets closer to bedtime, a different tension appears. The body lies down, but the mind does not follow. There is a constant feeling that something needs to be resolved, even without knowing exactly what. This is one of the most common aspects of anxiety that does not give visible symptoms. It does not appear in the form of panic, but in the form of constant vigil. It's as if rest is seen as a risk, not a necessity. And the longer this insomnia lasts, the more it reinforces the feeling of loss of control. The person begins to fear the night itself. Sleeping time stops being pleasurable and becomes a source of anticipatory anxiety. This creates a cycle that is difficult to break, because the fear of not sleeping already activates the state of alert before even going to bed. It's not that the body doesn't know how to sleep, it's that it doesn't feel authorized to rest. The brain continues to operate as if it were protecting the person from something invisible. If, as you listen to this, you realize that these words describe exactly what happens to you every night, stay with me until the end of this video, and when we get there, I want you to participate. Write in the comments something like, "My anxiety appears at night," or "It's exactly like that with me," or even "I can't turn off my mind." If you want, you can also comment on the phrase, "My body is tired, but my mind is not," because this helps other people to recognize themselves too. And if this content makes sense to you, leave a like, because it shows that this subject needs to reach more people who experience this silent anxiety and still think they are alone. Subscribe to the channel to continue this conversation, because in the next part we will delve even deeper into what this insomnia is trying to warn you about, and why it can be an important sign of what is happening inside you. When insomnia repeats itself night after night, it stops being just a nuisance and starts carrying a message. At this point, it is important to understand something fundamental. Insomnia is not the main problem. She is a sign. A silent alert from the body and mind saying that something has been ignored for too long. Many people try to combat insomnia as if it were the enemy, using force, control, or even guilt, but they rarely stop to listen to what it is trying to communicate, and almost always the message is the same. There is an internal rhythm that has been surpassed. The human body was not made to live in a constant state of alert. He needs real breaks, not just moments when the person is physically still, but mentally accelerated. Silent anxiety often develops exactly when someone spends a lot of time functioning at their limit without realizing it. Fatigue will be normalized. Getting little sleep becomes routine. Waking up tired becomes common. Living automatically becomes the default. People adapt to wear and tear without realizing how much they are disconnecting from themselves. Insomnia often appears as the body's last attempt to be heard. During the day, the signs are ignored. Constant tension, irritability, difficulty concentrating, the feeling of always being behind in life. But since all of this seems manageable, we move on. But at night, when there is no longer any way to be distracted, the body finds a way to interrupt this automatic flow. He prevents rest precisely to force a closer look at what is happening internally. This is why so many people only realize something is wrong when they can no longer sleep. As long as they can produce, work, and fulfill obligations, they believe that everything is fine. Society reinforces this idea, valuing those who can handle everything, those who don't stop, those who are always available. The problem is that the body does not understand these external demands. It responds to accumulation. And when this accumulation goes beyond the limit, it manifests itself in the most direct way possible, taking away sleep. This insomnia is not weakness. It is not a lack of emotional strength. It is not an inability to deal with life. On the contrary, it often appears precisely in very responsible, very committed people who hold on to more than they should for a long time. People who always put themselves in the background, who ignore signs of emotional exhaustion, who learn to function even when tired. The body then takes on the role of interrupting, because the mind alone can no longer ask for a break. When you look at it from this angle, everything changes. Insomnia stops being something to be fought and becomes something to be dealt with, undertaken. She is asking for slowdown. It's asking for space. You are asking for emotional care. It's asking you to look within and recognize boundaries that you may never have learned to respect. And the more this request is ignored, the more insistent it becomes. The body does not easily give up trying to protect itself. Maybe you are experiencing exactly this right now. Full days, busy mind, constant feeling that something is still missing, even when everything seems in order. And at night, when there should be rest, a restlessness that is difficult to explain appears. It's not a specific thought, it's a state, a difficulty in switching off and feeling safe enough to sleep. This happens because the body associates slowing down with risk when it spends a lot of time in survival mode. Resting seems dangerous, unproductive, or even wrong. Insomnia in this context works like an emergency brake. It interrupts the automatic flow and forces the person to realize that something needs to change. Not necessarily big, immediate changes, but small reconnections. Reconnection with your own rhythm, with emotions, with internal limits. Often what is missing is not sleep, but permission to truly rest, without guilt, without pressure, without the feeling that you should always be doing more. And this is exactly where important paths begin, which go far beyond simply sleeping better. Paths of self-knowledge, where the person begins to understand their own anxiety patterns, their ways of dealing with pressure, and their difficulties in slowing down. Paths of emotional care, where learning to listen to yourself becomes as important as fulfilling external obligations. Paths that involve learning techniques to calm the mind before bed, not as magical solutions, but as tools for reconnecting with the body and the present. Maybe your body isn't failing. Maybe he's trying to protect you from even greater wear and tear. Perhaps insomnia is the first invitation to a deeper change in the way you live, feel, and charge yourself. If this resonated with you, write here in the comments at the end of the video phrases like "my body is asking for a break," "insomnia is a sign," or simply "it makes sense to me." If you want, you can also comment "my body is not failing," because this phrase can help a lot of people who blame themselves for not being able to sleep. And if this content is helping you to better understand your silent anxiety, leave a like and subscribe to the channel, because in the next videos we will talk more about how to calm the mind, respect emotional limits, and transform your relationship with sleep, step by step, without pressure and without judgment. If you identified with this video at some point, if you felt that these words exactly described your nights, then this content is also for you. Subscribe to the channel now, because here we talk about silent anxiety, emotional insomnia, mental health, and self-knowledge in a real way, without labels and without judgment. Signing up is a way for you to continue this conversation with me and no longer feel alone in this process. If you made it to the end of the video, I really want to know. Leave a comment below writing, "I reached the end," or "I identified myself." If you want to go a little further, also comment on the phrase "my mind doesn't turn off at night," because this helps other people to realize that they are not alone in experiencing this. Comments create a very strong identification network, and your participation makes all the difference. Now, if this video made sense to you, leave a like. The like is important because it helps this content reach more people who suffer from anxiety that does not give symptoms, but appears in the form of insomnia. It's a simple gesture, but it completely changes the scope of the video. And don't leave here now. Watch the next video that appears on the screen, because it continues exactly where we left off here, and will help you understand even more what is happening to your mind at bedtime and how to start calming those thoughts.